Our next component's described as a hydrostatic transmission, which is actually a fluid drive transmission. Now, this is out of a lawnmower, but they make them for much larger machines, just huge harvesting machines. You have forestry machines, many other applications, and you can actually have this particular drive in a vehicle. But anyway, let's get down to the basics of this. This is a variable displacement motor, meaning that you've got this plate, which is called a swash plate, which moves and changes the angle. Now what happens, and this is the same unit as this is pump unit. What happens is if you just barely change the angle, barely tilt that swash plate, when it comes around, it's only going to move just a tad bit. That means when it goes all the way down like that, it fills the chamber with oil, and then when it pushes it up, you're only going to be displacing a small amount of oil to the motor, and we'll get to the motor in a moment. But if you increase that swash angle greatly, you're going to be sending a greater amount of oil to the motor itself. And there again, as this spins around that shaft and it pushes those pistons up on that swash plate, you see them go up and down. When it goes on the back side of the swash plate, they go down to recharge oil. When it comes up on the swash plate, it discharges oil. So this, there again, is a variable displacement pump. Now the motor assembly, of which this is sent, that oil is directed to, this is called a fixed displacement motor. The oil is sent over here. This actually goes here, pumps it through this manifold and up to that motor. This is a fixed displacement because you see there's no means of changing that swash angle. So when the oil is directed to one part of it, it actually forces that piston in this direction. And it creates a rotating motion. Okay, also within this unit, it's got to have a charge pump. A pump that it picks up the oil and sends it to the pump. And this is an open center pump. You see, it'll actually, the shaft will turn that, and it'll pick oil up and then discharge oil. There's your oil manifold. So that's considered an open center pump. But the first of our questions, this hydrostatic drive is variable displacement pump and a variable displacement motor. That is incorrect. As I pointed out before, you cannot change the angle of that swash plate. So this is a fixed displacement motor with a variable displacement pump. Okay, next question. This hydrostatic drive charge pump is a closed center pump. There again, we just went over that. This is an open center pump right here. It's not a closed center. Examining the hydrostatic components, only the fixed displacement pump can be reused. Number one, this is a variable displacement pump, and number two, if you really inspect it, there is damage. That's a broken spring right there. So this one is not reusable, and if you were to look, that piston is stuck within the housing. So now, upon inspection, this unit is not reusable. There again, this is a variable displacement pump, not a fixed displacement pump. The next question, if variable displacement pump swash plate angle is increased, displacement to the fixed displacement motor will be proportionally increased. There again, that's correct. That is the amount of travel, how much oil fills up, and then how much oil is actually pushed out within the inside of that piston. And there's the inside of the piston. Of course, you've got a spring, but it actually pulls oil inside that housing right there. And it fits within that bore. And tolerances are very, very, very tight, so the oil can't leak by the two surfaces. Okay, next question. A hydrostatic drive is a self-contained unit requiring no other supplied power. That's inaccurate. You've got to have something which is turning the pump shaft, which you have, if you'll look over here, you have an input shaft. You've got to have something of which is driving this to be able to rotate it for it to pump. So that is not a self-contained unit. And that is all for this